This story, I wish it were not in the Bible. Because it's so scary. It's so, what is this about? Imagine Abraham being asked, take your son and sacrifice him. I think of my children, of our children, Max and Felix. No, who is this God? Not the God that I know in Jesus, who welcomes all the children, the all-compassionate, the caring God. If someone comes to my office and says, I heard God's voice telling me to hurt my children, I would say, well, let's go to the hospital. Yeah, really. I think of Isaac when he was tied and saw his dad ready to hurt him. Think like he lost his dad. He lost God. I'm running for my life, and he's gone. And imagine Isaac coming back and telling his mom, Sarah, you know what Dad did? Whoa. So what do we do with a story like this? How do we get something from it? How does it speak? And my experience is, it takes a lot to chew on it, to dive into it, to go deeper and to wrestle with it. Because it's not easy. So what do we get from it? What are the nuggets? What is some of the insight we can learn from this story? One for me is, it's all God's. Life is precious. Life is a gift. Your children, your family, that we're alive. It's all a beautiful gift, and not to take it for granted. You may say, well, I worked hard. I earned it all. It's all mine. I say, think again. How about being born in the United States and not somewhere else? Did you make that happen? It's a gift. How about your teachers, your parents, your mentors who loved you into being and supported you? How about our educational system? How about the strength, the smarts, your brain, all of that? How about our country, the opportunities we have, the freedom we have? It's a gift. We recognize our family, our love. It's precious. And I think we miss it if we don't take it as a gift and thank God and live gratefully each and every day of our lives. Because it could be wiped out in a blink of an eye. Now, I'm not asking you to be afraid. The children's message, thank God we should not be afraid. We should treasure it and celebrate it. It's all God's gift. Huge. The second insight that I get from this story is radical, deep, deep trust in and through the situations that are the hardest, the most challenging in our lives. I remember Sigrid's grandmother. She was quite the cook. And we had a specialty meal. And these were wraps. You had some minced meat and you wrapped them into cabbage leaves and you cooked them and stewed them for 3 hours. They were delicious. They were so delicious. I ate way too much. I didn't eat 1 wrap too many. I didn't eat 3 too many. I ate 5 too many. I was sick as a dog, my friend. I was lying in bed, curled up. I didn't know what else to do. I was just done. And then a hymn, Amazing Grace, came to mind, our German version of Amazing Grace. And I started singing. And I got better. I got out of it, and it was, I don't know exactly why and how it happened, but it was like it shifted something, and I came out of it. Now think about the situations in your life when you grew in faith, when you experienced what faith is about. Were they the easy experiences, the mountaintop, the delight, and so on? Or were they some of the challenging situations, some of the wrestling, some of the throwing your hands up because it was beyond you? We all face those experiences, my friends, when it's not in our hands, when we're kind of done with the world, when we feel like left alone or abandoned, overwhelmed, or deep down in the dumps. We all face those situations. The question that Abraham and Sarah and our mothers and fathers in faith invite us to, do you trust in and through those hells on earth? Do you trust? Do you keep going? Even though you don't see, even though it doesn't make sense, even though it's kind of, you're at a loss. Do you keep going and hold the tension in between, shaking your head and, I don't get this, doesn't make sense, and God promised to be with me in and through this. And you hold both and you keep going, and it feels like sometimes it's tearing you apart. I have an uncle and an aunt. George is a pastor, and his wife Ursula. They had 4 children. And their middle daughter, the second actually, she was an avid biker, and she was just out of high school, went into college, was in a different city, and she was biking on the bike path. She was just always on her bike. But one day, right in college, she had on the bike lane, there was a cement truck turning right. She was on the bike, the truck didn't see her, crushed. They lived through hell on earth with that. Somehow, some way, I think you never get over it. You get maybe through it one step at a time. You never get over it. Just a few years later, their oldest daughter got cancer. What do you do? I heard them say, I don't think we can do this. We have those situations. They may not be exactly like this one, but we face rock bottom. We do. The invitation that I see in this passage is, no matter what life throws at you, no matter what you're dealing with, hold on to that faith part. And it's the story of Jesus, too. Jesus, who was backstabbed, betrayed, hung out to dry. The two things I invite you to keep in your heart is the one, life is precious, it's a gift. Treasure it, delight in it, live gratefully, count blessings. And when the going gets really rough, hold on to the faith. We're people of faith. And sometimes we know only in hindsight that God will provide. That's actually the message here. He came to the mountain, called, God provides. God will provide.